Welcome to the first ACUHO-I Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting of 2021. It's so weird saying that. I remember in high school when I thought of 2021, I thought that would be way in the future and will be just like the Jetsons flying around in vehicles above the ground, but that quite has not happened. So it's interesting. My name is Robin Gagno. I serve as the Sustainability Advisory Committee Chair, and I'm from a small school in Ohio. It's Baldwin Wallace University. We're close to the airport, and the Cleveland Browns training camp is sort of in our backyard. So that is what we're known for, just to update you on that. As we go through the agenda, okay, there it goes. This is one of the slides that we like to share with the committee members. It's, again, providing information about some great resources that ACUHO-I offers online. If you're not part of any of the current committees, it's online committees, it's a great place to network and connect with other professionals with similar interest. And it's also it's a great area to learn about what other universities and colleges are offering in the sense of programs, as well as areas that may interest you in residential life and housing. So again, there's information about that. There also is some valuable information on COVID-19, which again, all of us are somehow dealing with on our campuses. Again, as I mentioned, my information, we are looking for a committee chair. My tenure ends in June of 2021. And so we're looking for someone to take over for the next 2 years. So if there's any interest, please let me know. I can share the job description with you and some of the responsibilities. We have a liaison with the ACUHO-I office, Spencer Geese. Spencer is sort of new to the committee. There's some changes at the ACUHO-I office, and so Spencer is our liaison to the ACUHO-I office, and they've been very helpful over the years in reference to things that this committee does and reference to helping with things in housing and sustainability. So at this point, since I've been doing all the talking, again, we're looking at if you take some time to introduce yourself, you can do that on the chat line. But I always like to hear people's voices versus my own. So if you'd like to introduce yourself and, for example, who you are, Robin Gagno, Baldwin Wallace University, and what is your favorite sustainable practice at work? One of the things I've really enjoyed doing is working with our staff to start doing a better job of recycling plastic bags. And so we've been working with another company that we've been sending or taking accurate information about and using that to help with recycling across campus. And then starting next week, we start with Recycle Mania. So there's a lot of new faces or names. So would someone like to start? Now I get to pick you.
I'll go. All right. Can I be heard? Can you hear me?
Yes.
If you hear any noises, my husband's in the office next to me in the basement, so we're trying to secure. We're both in headphones. I'm Carla Yancey. I'm the sustainability officer for Michigan State University. And I would say I'd love to participate more, but I'm also in charge of running the COVID hotline for quarantine and isolation students. And that has me quite busy at the same time to keep going. So I'm going to have to decline on that right now. My favorite thing to get into is food waste. For some reason, I really like working with the kitchens and the dining hall staff and the recycling and the food waste and donations and all that kind of stuff. I really dig that kind of stuff. So the biggest thing is trying to make sure these programs still continue, even though they're very low scale right now, pick them back up to where we left off.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'll go next. My name is Blake Bensman. I'm the Sustainability Manager for Virginia Tech Dining Services and Housing and Residence Life. Just here to learn more about sustainability and housing and how we can make an impact. My favorite thing to work on right now is our university climate action commitment. A lot of our departments are collaborating on a brand new commitment to lower our carbon footprint and get students involved and have fun while doing that.
Thank you, Blake. Appreciate that.
I'll go next.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm Christy Tweedy. I'm from the University of Georgia, and I'm here in the housing department. One of my favorite sustainability practices right now is just adjusting to working with our student leaders outside, socially distanced, and away from Zoom. It's been fun. It's been doable, but just had to adjust a little bit more.
Yes, I think we all can relate to that, Christy.
I can go. My name's Kate Morrison. I work at eRes Life Software. Prior to that, I was at the University of British Columbia. I actually worked with the other Kate on the call, so hi, Kate. My favorite part of sustainability is actually social sustainability and thinking of like ways to create systems that are sustainable for all students and staff members at institutions. So that's kind of my lens that I'm bringing here. But I'm also really curious and passionate about sustainability in general on university campuses. So that's why I've been on this committee, I think about a year now. So that's why I continue to come.
Thank you, Kate. It's good to see you again.
I'll jump in there. Hello, everyone. My name is Joel Gaddy. I'm with Housing and Residential Life at Oklahoma State University. I'm proxying for Teresa today. She had a conflict of interest. She has been attending these pretty frequently, I believe. She and I are on the ACUHO-I Housing Facilities and Services Committee. And in that committee, we have subcommittees, and one of them is a sustainability chair. We've been in a vacant spot with that role for at least my time in the subcommittee role that I have. And so we've been trying to get some folks involved to be able to attend this meeting, be actively involved with each of you. But in that absence, we're picking up the void. As far as favorite sustainable practice here on our campus at Oklahoma State, we work real hand in hand with our OSU facilities management. They have an energy services area. Within that, they have energy managers. And so lucky for us, we have one energy manager for all of our properties. So it makes it easy for us to get to know one person. And she really does a great job of keeping us up to date on if a water bill even spikes just a little bit, about trying to then go and hunt down what toilet might be leaking in what building, where, and or if it's just a reader issue, whatnot. So that's a lot of things that I see day to day on my end. But a recent win for Res Life at OSU was that we had been pushing for a while that we wanted to get a second weekly pickup of our recycling dumpsters on campus around the res halls. We've been pushing for years and years about doing another pickup. Finally, Republic Services is who does our all of our campus trash and relocation, and so they bid on it this year. I don't know if there was less of a need in the rest of center campus, and they have more trucks, or I don't know. We've been pushing really hard, and finally this year they said yes. So we now have a Tuesday pickup and a Friday pickup, which we have seen. We used to have the issue was that on a weekly, there would be one dumpster, or not one. The recycling container would be overflowing, and then all that stuff that was overflowing just had to go into the trash, and that defeats the purpose. So now that we've gotten the second time per week, we have noticed a lot less of blowing trash and a lot of stuff ending up in the right place. So that's my long-winded answer for y'all.
Joel, thank you for sitting in for Teresa. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I'll go next. I'm Kate Flowers. I'm the other Kate. It's so nice to see you, Kate. It's been a long time. I'm at the University of Washington. I'm the assistant director over custodial services in Seattle. First time person here, real happy. I also get to work with Josh Ganna, which is a pleasure in my life. My favorite thing on our campus is compost. I have a great passion for compost, and I'm really excited this year our students do as well. It's really kind of they're interested about different things every year, but waste streams is something they're excited about. And especially with takeaway dining, it's offered us some really great opportunities in terms of getting more items into compost and less like, how do I sort this? So, yeah.
Well, Kate, thank you for being a first timer. I may be asking you some dirt on Josh later.
Well, with that introduction, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Josh Ganna, Associate Director for Facilities, Operations, and Special Projects at University of Washington, Seattle. I also serve as the brand new Facilities and Physical Environments Director for the ACUHO-I board, all of about 25 days in. So I just don't even know enough to be dangerous yet. I think I may have a chance to talk a bit about that in a minute. But in terms of on our campus, in addition to the composting that Kate spoke about, I think one of the things I've enjoyed here is our ability as a major food service operation in the community is to use our purchasing power to make some sustainable change with our vendors. And one recent example is through a partnership with Starbucks, we were able to work with them to have them create their first fully compostable cold cup for licensed stores in their portfolio, and that's since been expanded. And just the ability to be part of an organization that has that type of purchasing power to make systemic change is really rewarding for me.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Josh, while you're on the line, why don't you tell us a little about your new role and how it relates to the sustainability committee as well as the facilities committee?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Robin. So part of my role, at a big level, my role on the board is to reflect and represent a facilities expertise in sort of everything ACUHO-I does, and more specifically, the strategic direction the board makes. And this committee, as well as the Housing and Facilities Management Committee, sit in my portfolio as a liaison role. And so in that capacity, I work to support Robin and Teresa and whoever the future chairs are in advancing the work of the committee at an association level and making sure that there's continuity between the staff, the board, and the committee. I really, take the approach that it's volunteers that make this work happen. And so it's the committee chairs and you all that really drive the direction of the work. And I'm there to support and remove any barriers that might exist as we move forward. And, as Robin mentioned, looking for a new chair for this group, part of my effort is to help us do succession planning and make sure we've got solid leadership in place. So sort of from that level, on an ongoing basis, I'm going to try to participate and update you all on what the executive board is thinking about and doing. I also sit on the ACUHO-I Higher Education Association Sustainability Consortium, which is a group of all professional associations across subject matters in higher ed that have a sustainability lens. And so I'll be able to bring resources and materials back from that group as well.
Well, thank you, Josh. I appreciate you taking the time to meet with us and updating on us your new role. And again, congratulations on being elected, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So howdy, everyone. My name is Christiana Bowles. I'm the Graduate Assistant Sustainability Coordinator for the Department of Residence Life at Texas A&M University. And Robin stole my favorite practice with the Trex Plastic Film Challenge. It's definitely one of our favorites and has become a campus-wide expectation. But I will say probably one of my other favorites is our annual Utilities Challenge, or U Challenge. It's basically a semester-long research competition I run in partnership with our colleagues in our Utilities and Energy Services Department, as well as our two corporate sponsors, Siemens and Johnson Controls. Basically, teams of students research energy consumption in an assigned residence hall and then brainstorm infrastructure improvements, as well as student engagement improvements, because I'm sure we're all aware, even if every building is LEED Platinum, students will get really creative to find ways to keep the lights on, keep the shower running longer. So how can we create that culture of sustainability and environmental engagement on campus?
Okay, thank you, Christina. Is there anyone else that I missed? Okay. We'll move on to the next slide. Okay. One of our big projects for the new people is that we do a Sustainability Scenes newsletter, and it comes out each quarter. So the winter spring issue went out, I think, the early part of January or late December. And so right now we are looking at our next newsletter, and the deadline for articles I'm looking at March 1st. It's I don't say it's a definite date, but again, it gives us a timeline or deadline in which to start looking at submitting articles. Christiana has done, I think, 7 articles in the last 2 years. So do you want to give us a little update about the topics and how you've done it, in a sense of, I think most people, when they think about doing an article, they get a little scared or nervous. And basically what you've done is you've written about things that you're passionate about and that you're interested in. So would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. It definitely is not scary. I was a little nervous the first go round, brand new into graduate school and like my first real publication, not on a paper with a bunch of other people. But my biggest tip would just be write about what your school is doing, including the pros and cons and challenges you faced. So some of the topics I've talked about are Trex Plastic Film Challenge. I think that was one of the first ones I talked about. So where we collect plastic grocery bags, bread bags, any kind of malleable plastic, and talked about some of the challenges and successes we've had with that. I've talked about our Fill It Forward program, which if any of y'all have been to ACUHO-I, you've gotten that reusable travel size coffee cup made by formerly known as Companion, but now they have changed their name to Fill It Forward. So about the reusable stickers we got that we have on our water bottles that we use to engage students. I have written about our utilities challenge more in depth. So pretty much anything that your school is doing and how, other schools can maybe take a piece of what you're doing and bring it to their campus, because that's what we all really want, isn't it? Not only to tell everybody about how great we're doing individually, but really encourage everyone to take our learned experiences and apply them to their campuses. So just write about what you're doing, because I'm sure you're all doing amazing work, and how we can get other people involved.
Yeah. Based on Christiane's article on Trek, I got involved with that about a year ago. And so that has been a wonderful program for our campus. And I see a lot of our custodial staff bringing their plastic bags to campus so we can recycle them. And so basically what we do is we write about things that are interested and other schools can partake. I did one on using bamboo toothbrushes versus the plastic and electrical toothbrushes. The last newsletter also had an article on Mania, now known as Campus Race to Zero Waste, and the pros and cons that get involved in that. So the articles are not that difficult. Again, the more photographs you have, the more popular it is. And so what I basically do is review it and then send it to the group to look at and give us some feedback on. And then we submit it to everybody, and then we also give it to ACUHO-I, and they put it on the resource page. And so the link is there if you want to look at some of our previous newsletters. Again, this will be our 9th issue. They range from 4 to 8 articles. Issue number 7, I think we had the most. I think we had about 8 or 9 articles. The last issue with number 8, I think we had 4 or 5. So something to think about. And again, some of the articles were collaboration between members of the Sustainability Committee. So that's something to think about. If something or a topic comes up during our meeting, our roundtable, it's a great opportunity for 1 or 2 people to get together to complete an article for the newsletter. Do we have any questions from the new people about the newsletter? Okay, thank you. Okay, topics that come up, which was interesting because some of them came up at the facilities and operations in some sense. But how has COVID-19 impacted your recycling programs on your campus? I know for us, again, most of our students, a lot of our students are doing remote. And so we don't see as recycling as, okay, we don't have as many, the numbers of bags being collected are down due to the fact that we don't have as many students on campus. A lot of students, even in the academic areas, we're starting to see not as much trash or recycling collected as we did last year. And I think we'll be able to get a more realistic number as we prepare for Recycle Mania, or I should say Campus Race to Zero Waste. The big issue for us is how we deal with, again, some of the food containers, especially when they don't want to wash those. And for us, if they're not clean, they're not considered recyclable. We used to work with Republic. We have a new company, and they're very particular about what is considered recyclable. So that's the biggest thing we've seen in the last year in reference to the impact of COVID-19.
You know, this is Kate, we haven't seen huge impacts. Actually, we've been monitoring just to make sure that our diversion rate is still great and our trash is down. I am so very happy that we have balers on campus for our cardboard, because that's what we're seeing is upticking quite a bit. You know, Amazon is just delivering all the time. So been really happy that we have a place and we can kind of keep up with the amount of cardboard that we're getting, because we have a trash chute system in all of our residence halls, so they can't put the cardboard down the chutes. So that's something that custodial is having to put in big tilt carts and then take down a couple times a day. So thankfully we've been able to stay up on that and keep the actual trash down where it should be with the less occupancy in our buildings.
Okay. Thank you, Kate.
I'll jump in. For Oklahoma State University, I would say that I should backtrack. Our RHA has what's called eco reps. Those eco reps also work with our OSU Facilities Management Sustainability Coordinator. I would say that their in-person programming obviously has significantly washed up. So they used to do different events throughout the course of the year. They are not doing those this year. They're trying to be creative on how they're educating our students and making them know what's available or how to do certain things. They have, but I will say that they have not decreased their recycling container audits. They've actually increased that as we've increased the amount of pickups. So that's been a nice benefit, is that because they're not having to do as many hours programming or whatnot, they have been able to pick up the slack there on getting those audits done for us. It's also something that we have not required of them to do. They just take that on their own, which we've been very appreciative of, because there are times where, a home football game or something like that, people don't care what color the dumpster is, so they'll just throw whatever into it, and that just has to go to the landfill. So it's great to know when those pop up here and there, and that it's routed the correct way. So, but yeah, I would say just overall education of our students is definitely down. But I like to think that our students that we have in the university are a lot more cognizant of things than I would say when I was a student.
Okay. Thanks, Joe.
I can't speak directly to recycling programs, but one of the interesting impacts of COVID-19 that we've seen at eRes Life is the movement of a reduction of overall paper. So no longer do you submit a housing application on paper or a job application on paper, but that's all going wireless. And I think that's been a trend that's been moving, but COVID has really helped that to reduce that paper and the reliance on, I must print this and have a paper copy so everyone in my office can see it, is this movement to electronic so people can access it from different points. And I think there's pros and cons, like from a waste management, energy consumption to servers versus paper. But that said, it is an interesting trend that I've noticed.
As far as educational programs, we're somewhat restricted in the amount of students that can be considered in a meeting or gathering outside the classroom. So it has to be under 10. And then we're not able to, like in the union or in the residence halls, sit at tables to collect information and do type of activities. At least we have like a lot of like questionnaires they could fill out, and if they could fill it out, then they would receive something like a recyclable cup or straw or something like that. So that's been down for us. But we have digital screens in most of our residence halls and our academic areas. So we do what we call sustainable tips. So on a weekly basis, I submit information to the screens about being sustainable, information about Recycle Mania, what can be recycled, what can't be recycled, and the new name for it, and those types of things. So that has sort of been, I've sort of pushed that more this year than some of our programs. And we're just hoping that next fall we will go back to some of our programs with our students. So.
I also can't speak too much on recycling with the exception of the Trex program, but I feel like, and I think Kate, you touched on this about like everybody's ordering things offline. So we're definitely hitting our quota for plastic film much earlier. I mean, I just had a faculty member drop off another 12 pounds with me. So we're at 450, which is much earlier than we usually are in our 6-month time window. But I don't think general recycling has been impacted too much. The numbers that I see look pretty consistent with what we've gotten in past years. And again, we're all struggling with being able to engage safely in person. We're all zoomed out for class, work, and just seeing each other. So my eco reps, they are starting, now that school's back in session, they're doing bi-weekly plogging, which if y'all don't know what that is, plogging, it's a Swedish craze that started in 2016 and has kind of spread throughout the world. But basically you jog or walk, in my case, and pick up litter as you're out on your jog or walking path. So they're scheduling that for bi-weekly, and that's something they can easily spread out to a safe distance and make campus look nicer. I've definitely been relying more, as well as other student organizations, as I've come to learn, with partnering with Keep Brazos Beautiful, which is our local nonprofit focused on picking up litter in our parks and community green spaces. Which is a great problem to have for them because they have so many people that want to get outside since we can't really be inside together or we're really discouraged. So they're actually running out of parks that need to be cleaned. Again, great problem to have, but it makes us have to be a little bit more creative with how we can engage our students, because even when I try and host fun stuff online, I'll be honest, sometimes I don't even want to do it because my eyes just hurt. I don't want to have my camera on for another like hour and a half. So if anybody has any additional ideas that aren't necessarily picking up litter or that kind of thing, I'd love to hear them.
Okay. Anyone else have anything you'd like to share?
Sure, I'll share. So I'm within our residence halls. We have about 8,000 students that live on campus. We have in-room recycling bins that are like smaller, handheld. That has been a great success with that. We started with a pilot project with just about 1,000 of them, and it's been a great way to just distribute them through passive programming. Programming has completely changed. No one wants to stay together because it's a pandemic. We're only supposed to have 10 people anyways. So just trying to adapt things for easy grab and go, easy getting the resources. If we can have like data collection with it, that's been great. We usually do the reusable utensils. We've done the bamboo ones in the past. Some feedback I got from residents was it was harder to clean. And so I just bought metal utensils and then a case by itself. It was so much cheaper. And we added just a quick little QR code to kind of gauge if residents were aware that there's reusable utensils available, how often do they take the single-use items, and then we did a follow-up test too, is asking them how often do they remember to bring their utensils. So this was a great incentive, grab and go, that's been really nice. But in regards to recycling with COVID, the biggest thing that we were impacted with was moving move in. Traditionally, we have lots of volunteers that help separate cardboard, plastic film, and styrofoam. We had to make the choice, maybe let's just skip it this year because of touch points. So we tried to alter our messaging and ask residents and their families to unpack before you pack. It was with some limited success. So I'm just kind of prepping for what kind of decisions and planning do we do with moving forward, since that's kind of always the trend, is lots of cardboard boxes and styrofoam. Just how can we support families to either not bring them or to separate them on their own beforehand? Usually it's a great introduction with residents and student leaders that can interact, but in the time of COVID, it's greatly limited.
Yeah, I think just to follow up with what you shared, Christy, I think our move-in was so much different this year than it had been in the past. We used to have different athletic teams or Greeks fraternities and sororities help with move-in. This year it was left up to the parents, and they were spaced so they weren't interacting with a lot of different people. And the RAs were pretty much in their rooms to be helpful, but they weren't out and about like they had been in the past. So it's really interesting what decisions are going to be made for this upcoming fall, because I keep asking, because I'm one of these people who like to look ahead. And again, there's so many decisions that haven't been made at this time, so I can relate to that. Okay, if there's no one else, we'll move on to the next slide. This is for next time we meet. Any topics you want to bring up, or so we can prepare for next week? If not, then I'll try to come up with something based on previous meetings. Any suggestions? Something that you or a colleague would like to learn a little more about, or a student has questions about, or recycling programs, educational programs?
I have a few things. I'd like to learn more about those plastic bag programs that different institutions have done. And another thing, if anyone's done any work on sustainable sourcing, one thing we're doing here at Virginia Tech is going through our supply chains about what things are recyclable, what things are compostable, trying just to give our procurement department, better tools to make purchases. So if anyone's done anything similar to that, it'd be neat to hear about.
Blake, if you want to go to that link that I shared earlier, one of the sustainable scenes, Christiana wrote an article about the track recycling program. And again, if you go, you can ask her more information, but it's a great article, very informative. Based on that, I contacted them over a year ago, got the boxes, and we've been doing the plastic bag recycling across campus. So it's gone pretty well.
That'd be great. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Any other topic areas?
I have a topic I'm thinking of. With the pandemic, most people have gone to like paper products and stuff like that. Is anybody working on some campaigns for reusable type stuff? Are we leaning towards that way? Or are many of you back to China again? I mean, Michigan State was hit pretty hard with a lot of things, and a lot of stuff was shut down, and we're still on all this paper right now, and it's just frustrating.
I know we're still on paper products.
Yeah.
And again, we're lucky enough, we've been going with cornstarch
Yeah.
products, and so they are biodegradable. And so we were lucky we were doing that before the pandemic for takeout. But now we see more takeout. It's basically what it is. You go in, pick up your stuff, and you leave.
Yeah, I've had to add extra trash to all the dining halls that we have back open, and we have a composter, but it's not enough food compost ratio. for them to even take it. So they shut us down. And it's just one of those things. We'll get there.
Okay. Those are some good topics to think about for next meeting. So I know.
Oh, also one more thing. What about training? Are there folks that have the sustainability training? Now that everything is virtual, I'm trying to come up with my team as more like just a library of training of some sort that I can give the people. I'm not even sure who's going to be doing the training this year in the dining units or whether it's the halls, or a higher level sustainability, whether it's just a bunch of jump drives or something online. Is anybody else working on like a library of training utensils or training toolkit? This is kind of like going old school.
Not that I know of, but
Yeah.
it does make sense now.
We do RA training around sustainability. That's something that we've recently done this past year, and I'm hoping that they're gonna keep doing. Although I did get some feedback from one of my eco reps who's also an RA saying that they need to know why they should care about sustainability.
Oh my
From
God.
several of her friends, it's like, yeah, I really don't care. This is boring. So my job now is how to make it not boring. As a 25-year-old, I am definitely an 80-year-old woman internally, so that might have something to do with it. And we've also been doing, not necessarily training, but we started a sustainability book club for our Res Life staff and students, just to make them a little more aware and educated. That seems to be doing pretty okay, even though, again, that's via Zoom, and again, we're all Zoom fatigued out of our minds. I don't know of any other training that we're actively doing. I think kind of the Office of Sustainability on our campus is trying to do a little bit of it, especially with their interns making online content like YouTube videos. But I don't know too much about that.
Yeah, we've picked up some like this is how you recycle because we've changed our plastic format. We used to capture 1 through 7. Now we're only doing 1 and 2. So our recycling department took advantage of all that waste. Now I have to retrain after years of beating them to recycle everything. Now they're so lost. They're trying to recycle more and it's actually it's just harder now for them. And I'm trying to come up with step processes because they obviously don't want to watch it all because you're right. They tell me it's boring. Why should I? So maybe 2 or 3 minute little videos we're doing, like this one's for recycling and this one is for paper. I don't know. That's what we're just trying to think of something to do because I don't think they're going to let us into these units. And I can't put anybody in one room anymore, and not sure what to think yet. So thank you. That was kind of where I'm going.
One of the things that has worked here at I work at the University of Maryland, Resident Life. I'm their sustainability coordinator. They have regular standard resident assistant training, but they also do continued training throughout staff meetings. And because training is so short and you have a short amount of time, sustainability gets put into those staff meetings. So throughout the different weeks of September is typically, and also January, February, they'll highlight whatever needs to be highlighted. And so they'll watch whatever videos I've created, have discussions, whatever it may be, during those staff meetings. So it's the resident director is actively engaging with them and making sure that content is put in front of their faces, either on Zoom or not on Zoom, when it was not on Zoom, and then talking about it. So they then complete a survey afterwards once they've done all of the videos and kind of let me know the things that they learned. It seems to be working fairly well. And the students, if they have questions, they know they can contact me.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. I have offered to, because the RAs don't have to program as much as they had to in the past, I've offered to do a Zoom meeting with their residents to talk about sustainability on campus. In last semester, I only had one RA ask me to do that with their residents, and I only had like 8 students, but that was still 8 students. I was really appreciative of doing that for them. The other thing is, one of the things I've done to encourage them to do passive programming is that we do sustainability boards. If they do one of their bulletin boards and it's sustainability in nature, they get recognized, plus they get a $5 gift card to go to our cyber cafe where they can get a coffee or a slushie or something else that they would enjoy. Okay. Here are some upcoming webinars that the college and university recycling coalition they offer. So there's a February, April, and June. Safety and sustainable. One is reusable dining during COVID-19. I thought somebody brought that up. There's upcoming webinar on that. So I try to provide you with information about what other associations are doing as well. And then there's some information about ASHI and some of their upcoming webinars. So there's a link for that. So it gives you some idea of what else is happening besides ACUHO-I. And what else? Okay. Here is, again, for those who are involved in Recycle Mania, I think if you are involved in it, you probably have these dates down. Again, it's 8 weeks of competition, friendly competition between colleges and universities. And then again, it's international, meaning that we have schools from Indiana. And then here's some resource information. One thing I added, which is different than last month, recycling signage, big thing for us. Over the years, we've had different recycling signage. And so we've tried to make ours standard. And so we use Recycle Across America and use their signage for our containers across campus. They cost a little, but again, we have the same signage in the academic buildings as we have in our residence hall. So each year we try to update that and maintain those as well. So there's some links or information for you to think about, some information that is helpful. Our next meeting, again, is scheduled for Monday, February 15th, again at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, if you have any questions or if you're thinking about writing an article and you need some resources, please let me know. We're always looking at articles that we can publish. Again, it's great to see so many new faces. And so hopefully you'll come back. Hopefully we haven't bored you too much. Hopefully you find that what we talk about is valuable to you, because again, I know that, like Christiana said, it's like this is my 4th Zoom meeting today. And so I don't want to bore you too much, but I also want to make sure that we are a resource for you as well. Josh, do you have any closing comments? Because again, I like your background. It looks so stately.
Yeah, Seattle on a sunny day, which it's always sunny here. Now, so first off, February 15th is the President's Day holiday. Do you think we'll still meet that day or bump a week ahead?
Joe, what is your committee doing? Are you meeting on the 15th?
So there were some emails peppered my inbox that I haven't had a chance to look at. I think I saw something about ours moving. If you give me a minute, I can definitely verify that.
And this is Spencer from ACUHO-I. I'll work with Robin and Joel to make sure we get those meetings scheduled for February. Maybe we'll go the last Monday. We've got a ACUHO-I programmatic conflict on the 22nd. So if we don't go the 15th, maybe we go that 29th.
There is no 29th.
There's no
Doggone it, Josh, get out of here.
Sorry, Spencer. Anyway.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, that's good. That's good.
And I can't do the 28th because I have Great Lakes ACUHO winter meeting all day.
Well, we will figure out February and we'll get back to everybody.
Okay.
Otherwise, just, on behalf of the board, thank you for all of your effort in this really critical, important task during a time where everyone's taxed. I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. Certainly, you can work through Robin to route anything up through me. But if you have any input for the board or questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay. All right, everyone be safe, be healthy, take care. Thank you.